Hey, happy Sunday. How are you today? I hope everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful week or the beginning of the week. This week, I want to talk about two things: packaging and what has helped me in the produce business. I get a lot of requests, mostly for people maybe just starting out in the produce business or maybe in the first 5 years, and they always ask me for advice. So, so I'm going to tell you a few things that I think that have helped me most uh, over the years. Uh, the first thing that comes to mind, I've said this a couple times, if my word is worth more than money, so you don't know if I'm making money or losing money when I'm buying and selling produce because I do it with the same intensity because to me my word is everything. So if I give someone a sale on red peppers and something happens I go out and cover them and I cover them like I'm making $10,000, you know, uh, and that's that's always worked for me because people know if I give them an ad, I'm going to cover it. Another thing that I think of is I think many young people they're looking for that big score, and I got to tell you something. I've been doing this for 40 years, and I've never met a load that I could retire on. So my mantra has always been make a little on a lot of loads. So I want to do business. I want to do. I don't want to make that big score. I want to make little scores, but every week or every day, and I want to do it for 30 and 40 years. And I have some shippers that I've been selling their produce for 20 and 30 years. Yes, so I could tell you that is, it's worked for me. Just the other day, we had some tomatoes. Someone asked me for help if I could help them move some distressed tomatoes, and I did. And the return was terrible, and they knew it. So I gave the grower all the money, and he said to me, well, "Don't I have to pay you or anything?" I said, "Listen, I rather make money on good deliveries, not bad deliveries." So, and he was shocked. But I tell you the truth, I tell this to my truckers also. I don't make money on bad deliveries. I make them on good deliveries. So being on time, making sure my product is good. These are the things I know in my lifetime. I've had many, many more good deliveries than bad deliveries. Bad deliveries happen. We're in the produce business. You know, stuff decays, problems happen. Uh, so these are just a few of the things off the top of my head that maybe help you. Maybe I can tell you one thing. I've been doing this for a long time and they've worked for me. So I'll give you some more tidbits of information as I go, but those are three off the top things that work for me. Okay. Next, I want to talk about packaging. Now, anyone that has listened to me before COVID-19 knows that I was never ever a big fan of packaging. But guess what? COVID-19 changed my mind. Why? People don't want you touching their produce. But there's got to be a better way of us packaging. I want to give you some real facts. You know, this recycling farce is really a farce. It's again one of those things that make you feel good. You know, I think 5% or less of the plastic gets recycled, and it only can be recycled one or two times because it denigrates. You can't keep on recycling plastic. It has a limited life. So better packaging, and it is available. We have a lot of sustainable packaging options now, and I hope the industry moves towards it because the plastic thing is time I think is come and gone. You know, I used to laugh about you want to California want to ban plastic straws, but I'm not picking on Costco, but you buy 12 apples in a uh, big plastic container. You don't want to complain about that. It's just ridiculous. But anyway, I'm also a big fan of produce naked when it gets back to that. I just think it looks beautiful. So it's again, just my opinion for the day. Okay, let's talk about markets. You know what I failed to realize last week? This past week was the week of the twos. It took me like halfway through the middle of the week to realize, why the hell is business so slow? And then I realized, week of the twos. So, I'll start off with the red peppers. By and large, the red pepper market is being most greatly influenced by the hothouse varieties. 11-pound red peppers, even yellow peppers, well, red peppers for sure, are in the $6, $6 to $7, $8 range. And there's even some $5 business. So that's 50 cents a pound FOB, and you could see that is definitely going to make a drag on the elongated varieties, which the volume has not been that significant. In fact, had it been not for the 11-pound market and not the week of the twos, I would actually say that based on the volume, that this market would have been definitely warm to hot. So the general FOBs are $12 to $14, and it's amazing. Some growers have no problem selling out every day for $14, and other growers have problems selling out for $12. And the terminals just can't seem to get out of their way. And that's just not, a New York terminal, Philadelphia. That's Midwest to East. It just seems like terminals are having a hard time getting a profit based on these FOBs. And we'll just leave it there. In case you've I got to talk about terminal markets. These are all ad lib. As the ideas come into my head, I just start talking about it. I'm going to tell, in case you've missed my previous post about terminal markets, I have to, terminal markets, when you have no place to go, you call your local terminal market. And then 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, when you get the return after you ask for help, you're crazy, that's too cheap, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain to you about terminal markets, because that's how I grew up in this business. I grew up in this terminal market, and to me, there's no better education. So, grower A, selling out every day, item, tomato for $10, $10, $10, $10. Every day, selling out $10, $10, $10. The first day he doesn't sell out for $10, but he's still $10, but he has a little balance. The next day, same thing. He's selling, but he's carrying product every day. So what does he do? He calls his terminal market. Hey, listen, I got a couple extra loads of tomatoes. Could you take them? I'm doing $10, but, I see what you could do with them. Terminal market gets them, sells them, gives them back $7. Guy jumps up and down. Oh, it was $10, it was $10. No, you weren't. If you were $10, you wouldn't have called the terminal market. You would have been sold out. You understand? That's the beauty. That's the beauty, whether it's the beauty is the eye of the beholder of a terminal market. It's a true supply and demand market. You weren't $10. You were $10 for the first 3 days. You were not coming off with the supply and demand cycle. When you didn't sell out for 10, the market was no longer 10. Maybe it was 9, maybe it was 8. Well, let's say it was 8. The guy gave you back 7, right? It's all of a sudden, it's really not a bad return. The same thing now, on the other hand, market gets hot, right? You could sell all day for $14.15. Terminal market guy calls you. Oh, okay, I help you with those tomatoes. Could you, maybe you send me a load or two, No, I'm getting $15. That's when terminal markets thrive. Maybe that guy could, if he's an honest guy like me, maybe that guy would give you back 17 or 18 because the market in terminals was 25 or 30. This has happened more times than you can count. And I can tell you, if you called any of my growers, If you call any of my growers, they'll tell you we go to funerals, but we also go to the weddings. We go together. So, and that's it. That's my those are my three produce stories for today. Let's talk about tomatoes now. Roma Tomato Market. What I tell you, after second week after Labor Day, market usually firms up. It did a little early, about 10 days after, and it's continued. And now we're just going to go into supply and demand cycles. I can tell you this week in New York Jewish holidays, I mentioned that last week, kill every business in New York. Now with the added COVID-19, which has become very hard for even me to predict anymore, because things that worked in the past really don't work anymore, because I really can't figure out the demand cycles as well as I used to. Why? Because there's a lot of people out of work, and there's a lot of people, we came off a great economy into an economy that's really not working for everybody right now. So it's a little difficult. All I can tell you is we're past the week of the twos. We're going to start October towards the end of this week. So I'm an optimist, and I think the market's going to be better. Cucumber market is, we settled around $18. I think we could probably maybe be $2 lower on the FOBs on this coming week, just on more volume. And again, demand might have thrown me off because last week demand was a little lethargic, so I'm basing that $2 less. You know, the market was $18 FOB this week, 18 to 20, and I just think if that demand stays that way, that this market has to come more further. And I think in the beginning of November, our kabocha in Mexico is doing great. I'll have kabocha in November, the beginning of November, and then we're going to start again our avocado program. Just waiting for the boxes, so I think I'm a week or two away, and I'd like to get you all on board. And that's it. That's it for this week from my my new backyard in Mission, Texas. I love you. I love the produce business. Oh, one more thing. Getting back to the original, I will help anybody in this business I can. If you email me or text me, it would be my pleasure. If I can offer any advice or help in any way, I will. But I have to tell you, I am like a North American guy. Most of my business is Mexico, US, and Canada. So, you know, I get a lot of requests, let's say, from India or, you know, Vietnam. I could help you with advice. Well, not, you know, current events in those countries advice, but in produce advice, or maybe hook you up with someone that sells your item. But I'm really not going to be the guy that, you know, that can move your product. At this point, you never know what the future brings, but that's all. I just want to say that because I've gotten a lot of requests, you know, from a lot of, you know, Mideast and Far East countries, and I would love to help you, but I'm really not your guy. If I could put you in contact with someone through my connections, it would be my pleasure. Okay? Love you. Love the produce business. See you next week, unless I have a dynamite sale during the week. Red pepper volume on the elongate is going to drop off a little bit this week, but the 11-pound market is definitely going to dominate the market. So take care. See you next week. Bye.